Venerable War Memorial Gym in San Francisco. The 216th all-time meeting between these two Northern California rivals. And USF has won 7 of the last 11 meetings, although Santa Clara won the matchup earlier this season, played down at the Levy Center on the Santa Clara campus. Along with former Arizona standout Corey Williams, I'm Roxy Bernstein, and a good one for you here tonight between two teams that desperately need a win. You played in rivalry games. You know what this is all about.
Absolutely. It's a grudge match. Coaches and players won't admit it, but you do go a little bit harder because it's a rivalry.
Well, look for the starters tonight on both sides. Who are the players that stand out to you?
Well, it's sharpshooter, super sophomore, Jared Brownridge. I mean, this kid is phenomenal. Lit up Gonzaga 2 games ago for 25 points against the #2 team in the country. And Mark Tollefson, when's the last time you've seen a 6'9" guy who can do it all? Threes, post-ups, dunks. He's a tremendous player.
So Jared Brownridge, a young sophomore, Tollefson, a junior, so a good matchup there. As we get the starting lineup first for Santa Clara, they're trying to snap a 4-game slide. The Broncos 11-14 overall. They're 5-8 in the WCC. And the Broncos are right now in 7th place in the conference. Denzel Johnson, Brandon Clark, the leading scorer for Santa Clara. Jared Brownridge, Matt Hubbard, very talented freshman, and Nate Cratch, the 5 for the Broncos. For the USF Dons, who are 9-16, 3-10 in the WCC, they're trying to snap a 5-game slide here. And for the 9th place USF Dons, it'll be Matt Glover, the transfer from Penn State, Tim Dirksen, Devin Watson, a very gifted freshman having a tremendous season, Mark Tollefson, and Matt Christensen making his 3rd straight start, a physical presence for Rex Walters in USF. Look at the standings in the WCC, and they are updated. And both these teams, it's pivotal, Corey, for both Santa Clara and USF tonight, because they're trying to play their way into the top 6 of the conference and stay out of the first night of the WCC tournament in Las Vegas.
That first night is so hard. You want to come and play your best basketball, play as few games as possible at ideal tip-off times. So positioning is very important when you're talking about that end-of-year tournament in Vegas.
Santa Clara and USF is Rex Walters, the head coach of the USF Dons. His 7th year on the hilltop, 9th overall. Spent 2 years at Florida Atlantic as the head coach. He was the 2014 WCC Coach of the Year last year. Took the Dons to 21 wins, the most for a USF team with those 21 wins last year since 1981-82. And Rex Walters in his 7th year on the hilltop. There's Kerry Keating, the head coach of the Santa Clara Broncos, his 8th year. And he has won 2 national championships when you look at the postseason, not the NCAA. But Kerry Keating, who won the 2012-2013 CBI, the 2011 CIT, a former assistant to Ben Howland at UCLA, and Kerry Keating now trying to get this team on track here for a push toward the end of the campaign heading into the WCC tournament.
Well, you know, he's all about leadership. Postseason play is postseason play. They've been able to complete and finish strong. Second half of the season is what we're looking at right now. Santa Clara definitely wants to put some wins on the board going into postseason.
Home whites for the USF Dons. The Broncos in their dark red. And maroon. Cardinal, whatever color you want to call it. Tollefson will jump for USF against Nate Cratch, and the Dons win the opening tip here at War Memorial Gym in San Francisco. USF at 9-16, Santa Clara 11-14. Here's Mark Tollefson inside, misses, and Nate Cratch the rebound for Santa Clara.
Keep an eye on the Dons offensively. They're going to try to start this game going inside. They feel like they have a size advantage.
They go into Nate Cratch. The kick out, Brandon Clark, the flyby, and the pull-up. And the rebound. Matt Glover, here comes USF. Glover attacks for the Dons. Devin Watson from the corner. And Nate Cratch clears another rebound. Here comes Santa Clara. Just over a minute in. Santa Clara's lost 4 straight. The Dons have lost 5 in a row as Jared Brownridge lets fly. Nate Cratch, the offensive rebound, fouled on a putback.
You wonder how long they'll be able to get away with Watson trying to guard him in the post. There's a huge size disadvantage. He was able to get to the offensive rebound. Cratch just towering over Watson.
It's already 3 rebounds for Cratch in the first minute 15. The sophomore from Watertown, Minnesota, averaging 5 points, 5 rebounds a game. Started the last 14 after Cratch came off the bench the first 12 games of the year. His dad, Robert, played football at Iowa, won a Super Bowl with the Giants back in 1991, and he gives Santa Clara a 2-0 lead. From the corner, a 3 off the mark from Tim Dirksen, and a save by Brandon Clark, and the Broncos secure it. Here's Matt Hubbard posting up, the freshman, against Matt Christensen as Brandon Clark fires and gets a 3.
Nice inside out from the post feed back out to Clark, who's a great shooter. You want to get him started early.
First 5 for Santa Clara. Matt Christensen powers his way underneath, and a foul is called, and it's on Santa Clara on the floor. So not a shooting foul. It's on Nate Cratch's first. As Christensen checks out, Cruz Pinkins in the game. The senior from Marietta, Florida, averages 15 points a game, leads the Dons in scoring. They're coming off the bench now for the 3rd straight game. Cruz Pinkins, as Rex Walters trying to do anything to get this team going and jolt them here as they make a push to the WCC tournament.
Sometimes you fool with the lineup.
Matt Glover breaks the seal for the Dons.
I'm saying sometimes you fool with the lineup. You try to motivate guys, take away their minutes, try to reinsert them, light a fire. Anything you can do to establish some good chemistry towards the end of the season.
Because once you get to Vegas in the WCC tournament, you never know what can happen. Sure, Gonzaga's going to be a huge favorite as Nate Cratch makes it 7-2 Broncos, but over 3-4 days of a tournament, you have no clue what can unfold.
Absolutely. You want to be playing your best basketball in March, as all the teams across the country want to get into that type of situation.
And for Rex Walters, down 5 here early at home. Last year, they tied for 2nd in the WCC, lost the first round of the NIT, hosting LSU right here on the Hilltop. Chris Adams in the game for the Dons. Very good 3-point shooter. The senior from Covina. In fact, 88% of field goal attempts are 3s. Here he goes for 3. And the rebound. The Broncos control. Matt Hubbard ahead to Denzel Johnson, who attacks. He gets the runner and will check the foul. It's a block. Wave off the shot. No basket, says Scott Brown, the official. And it's a blocking foul against Chris Adams of San Francisco.
That's a head scratcher right there. I mean, if you're going to give him the bucket, you got to give him the foul too. That's one step, contact, and the basket. In my mind, that's the same foot progression as a layup. He took the one step, he got hit, and he scored. I don't understand how they waved that off, but Broncos will have to inbound from the baseline.
Jarvis Pugh in for the Broncos. Redshirt freshman from Murphy, Texas. 6'6", placing Hubbard. Brownridge goes to track it down to the backcourt. I'm with you. I thought that should have been an and one.
Well, it's not the first time I've been confused by some officiating this season.
Shot clock approaching 10 as Brandon Clark fires short on a 3, and the rebound Matt Glover. He leads the Dons in rebounding. And 5.5 a game despite being a guard.
San Francisco's got to get the ball back inside. The very first possession they went inside, haven't done it since. Been very cold from the perimeter.
Cruz Pinkins deflected out. Last touch by Santa Clara. It stays with USF, but there they went to try to go to Cruz Pinkins on the interior.
Well, there's a tendency when you play at home and it's the opening minutes, take those open shots, see if you can knock them down. But you've had 5 or 6 possessions where you haven't scored. Go back to your bigs, let them do some work for you.
Corey Hilliard in, a senior from Kansas City for USF. Also Matt Christensen back in the game. Quick start for the Broncos on the road, leading at 7-2.
Very active in that zone as you see them forcing the turnover, creating that hesitation.
Devin Watson lost it. Here is Kai Healy, freshman from Sydney, Australia. Denzel Johnson attacks. Drops it off inside. Nate Cratch fouled by Matt Christensen. And Cratch will go to the line. And Corey, a good start for Santa Clara.
Aggressive start, penetrating, sharing the ball. Johnson on a great penetration and drop off. Santa Clara will shoot 2 when we come back.
Okay, fans, who wants some free Twins ice cream?
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by TaxSlayer.com. It's your refund. Keep more of it. Start your return today. And by USAA, proudly serving the financial needs of current and former military members and their families. 7-2 Santa Clara with the lead at San Francisco. Thursday night showcase on ESPNU. Well, the Santa Clara Broncos, we highlighted it, Corey. They've won a couple of postseason tournaments. Recently winning the CIT back in 2011. Then 2013, the CBI. But here in 2015, the struggles. And the every other year, not necessarily going according to form for Kerry Keating.
Not at all. You definitely want to be around your 20th win by this time of the season. Not there. But this is a team that's lost a lot of close games. Wishing they could have had some of those back.
Nate Cratch at the line for the Broncos. And one more coming for Cratch. Just a 54% foul shooter. And for Kerry Keating, dealing with the injury right from the get-go this season, really handicapped this team with Yannick Atonga, who is their starting center, and their only returning experienced post player. Lost for the year with the knee injury, which they're hoping to get a 6th year for. Next year they'll apply for it. But that really set this team back and limited them, especially inside.
And you cannot measure what that does to a team when you take away their starting center to begin the season. They're going to donut, no center.
Here's Pinkins. And a foul is called. It's on Nate Cratch, and Pinkins will go to the line. Second on Cratch. And Pinkins, 65% for the line. Now, the free throw line has been anything but a charity for USF this year. They have really struggled as a team. Just 61% from the line. They are 345th in college basketball to 351 Division I teams in free throw percentage.
Well, they were down in San Diego a few weeks ago in a game they lost by a handful. 12 missed free throws. That's the difference in college basketball. Paying attention to detail, taking the free money that's out there, make your free throws, don't turn the ball over. Every coach and every program preaches that religiously.
One more for Pinkins. And the rebound controlled by Jalen Richard, a sophomore from Santan Valley, Arizona, checked in for the Broncos. Kerry Keating going deep into his bench, also checking in is Emmanuel Ndomaya, redshirt freshman from Nigeria. Real only physical presence they have inside is 6'9" and 270. There he is. Ndomaya left it short. Pinkins the rebound. Here come the Dons. Good defense early by Santa Clara. USF just 1 of 7 from the field.
Yeah, I was just going to say they're doing a good job of mixing it up, playing some zone, playing some man-to-man, limiting the Dons to just one shot each trip down the floor. This is precisely how you want to open up a road game. You play solid defense, don't worry about offense.
Over and back call. And a turnover committed by Santa Clara gives the ball to USF, and obviously Kerry Keating does not agree.
He's all over that call, but the officials Got a better look. Ball shot off the shoulder, looks like. There's the tip. And before they go to the ground, the official believes that it was touched by a Bronco before it headed over half court.
Looks like they got that one right. They were on top of that one. USF ball after the over and back call against Santa Clara. Tollefson on the alley-oop.
Beautiful set play. Great pass from the other big to big. Christensen on the lob.
And USF seems energized defensively. Hugh to the basket. And the rebound, Glover for USF. Go to Mark Tollefson in the post. With the left hand, we're tied at 7.
He can really do work on that block. He can spin either way. He's even got a fadeaway jumper. When Tollefson has the ball, you've got to converge, make him give it up.
Broncos have gone scoreless for over 4 minutes now. And a foul's called on Mac Glover of USF for a push out near the midcourt stripe. 4 on the Dons.
Dons trying to pick things up defensively. But there you see the cut. Tollefson can shoot the 3, so you have to respect him going away from the basket. And here you see him in the block, turning to his left hand. Nice touch on the post. We talked about him before. He can shoot the 3, he can dunk, he can post up. They use all of his weapons.
Here's Brandon Clark. USF, it seems now, they've gotten in a rhythm, and it's affected them on this end of the floor as well.
Right, and it starts with a couple of baskets, but it's usually the other way around. But right now, a couple of buckets have gotten them a little more energy. As you see the defensive stop, something they weren't getting in the opening minutes.
Matt Christensen the rebound. USF looking for their first lead. Dirksen open. In and out on a 3, and the rebound, Jarvis Pugh. Here comes Santa Clara. Jalen Richard.
They've really done a good job of shadowing Brownridge. Everything he does, every screen he uses, they switch.
Pretty play by Brandon Clark.
And that's what he's going to have to do. They're waiting on Brownridge to get free. Somebody's just got to put it on the deck, create a little something, and relieve that pressure.
USF just 3 of 11 from the field, and defensive field goal percentage has been a problem for Santa Clara the last few ball games. 5 of the last 6 opponents, as USF turns it over, have shot at 51% or better from the field against this Santa Clara team, and the Broncos with the lead on the road, but Mark Tollefson trying to bring the Dons back.
Definitely with the versatility, up, and away. Mr. Tollefson with the jam.
A 9-7 lead for Santa Clara on the road at San Francisco. There's a nice showcase. Join College Game Day crew on the road in Dallas, where Kevin Ollie and the UConn Huskies go up against Larry Brown's number 25 SMU Mustangs. If it happens in college basketball, it's on game day. Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPNU. So Rex Walters, who played for Larry Brown, the connection. Not only Larry Brown there at the 76ers, but didn't play for him at Kansas, played for Roy Williams, but of course Larry Brown also coached Kansas among his many stops. And his brother Herb Brown is an assistant to Eric Reveno at Portland here in the WCC.
That is one heck of a coaching fraternity there.
9-7 Santa Clara. Brandon Clark with 5, Nate Cratch with 4. The only scorers for the Broncos. As Jared Brownridge is open for 3. And he missed. The rebound, Cruz Pinkins. USF with the ball.
Brownridge has got to get going. That's his first open look. Wasn't able to knock it down, but he's got to be more aggressive offensively.
Cruz Pinkins. USF trying to establish their inside game here. Pinkins inside. Can't get it to go. Jarvis Pugh the rebound. Here come the Broncos. Jared Brownridge, the kick to Brandon Clark. Wide open underneath. Nice find by Jared Brownridge to get it to Matt Hubbard.
Hubbard moving without the ball. Brownridge is a scorer, but also very unselfish. Great vision by the sophomore.
And a whistle. And it's off the ball. It's a foul against Santa Clara. And it's on Jarvis Pugh, his first.
He draws so much attention, but he sees his teammate moving without the ball. Don't just stand still. And you've got a go-to guy. You got to help him out. Make a cut to the basket. Brownridge with the assist. That's how you relieve that pressure.
4-point lead for the Broncos. Here's Christensen. Has it stripped. Brandon Clark knocked it free. And it's picked up by Pugh and a steal for the Broncos.
The Broncos are doing an outstanding job of doubling the ball when it goes in the paint. They're coming up with loose balls, steals, and rebounds. They know they're undersized, but they're really executing that strategy.
Matt Hubbard drives in. He runs over Tim Dirksen. Offensive foul.
You got to stop, shoot the pull-up. Dirksen set up 5 years early on that one. Totally baited him. Moves over. Tim Dirksen with the great presence of mind. Gets in front of the mark. Takes the hit. Just stop. Put it off the glass.
The charge called on Matt Hubbard, his first foul. 4 now on Santa Clara.
Watch Santa Clara. If that ball goes into the paint, they swarm on it like the bees and get it right out of there.
Devin Watson spinning inside and gets the roll. First points for the freshman from Oceanside down near San Diego. And a steal. Cruz Pinkins looks to attack. Pinkins to the basket. The tip by Tim Dirksen.
Great defense by the Dons. Full denial on Brownridge forces them into the turnover.
And forces Kerry Keating and Santa Clara to take timeout as USF has knotted this game up at 11.
If you're Santa Clara, you know what they're going to do defensively, but you have to move without the ball. When guys pick up the ball, you can't continue to come towards them. That makes the defense even tougher. You've got to do the back cuts like they did on the previous possession. Kerry Keating telling his guys how to beat pressure. You don't want to keep coming to the ball. The ball stopped. He lost his dribble. That's a weak bounce pass into traffic. That's going to get picked off 100% of the time. Cruz Pinkins takes it coast to coast and Dirksen on the follow. But you've got to space the floor. Great job by the Dons creating their own transition.
So a USF team that began this year at 3-0, but they've hit on hard times ever since that 3-0 start. In fact, for USF, they have lost 16 of their last 22 games coming in here tonight. And they're just 1-5 in West Coast Conference home games. And an odd number when you look at the rebounding numbers, Corey. In the non-conference, they were an outstanding rebounding team at nearly +10 per game. But in conference play, in the WCC, they are at -4.5 rebounds per game. Jared Brownridge for 3, knocks it down.
And that's what he can do with just a flick of the wrist. And you can't leave him open. And I talked with Coach Rex Walters today. He wanted to make sure his guys were with him on the catch. You can't just be in front of him. You got to have your hands up. As you see, Brownridge on the double team forces the turnover.
Denzel Johnson. Brownridge is a 45% three-point shooter as Kai Healy attacks the basket.
That's good basketball right there. Put it on the deck and share the ball.
Largest lead for Santa Clara. Matt Christensen banks it in, spinning toward the baseline.
Christensen with a nice move, got going before the double team showed up.
That was a high degree of difficulty on that one. He was able to use the window.
Yeah, he had great body control, soft touch. It's hard to score with the little guys. Sometimes they try to take charge, draw contact, but Christensen using good body control in the paint.
Jared Brownridge, the pull-up two. In and out, the rebound, Matt Christensen. Here come the Dons. And a foul called, the second on Matt Hubbard. 3-point lead for Santa Clara. Coming up, we'll take a look at the greatest player in USF history, and it's a big day for Bill Russell. Well, Bill Russell played here in the mid-50s at the University of San Francisco and took part in 2 of their 3 national championships. As Bill Russell was a force from McClymonds High School in Oakland. That's his career numbers while playing for the USF Dons. As Bill Russell, also a big day for Bill Russell. There's the championship banner from 1955. Celebrating his, if I can have my Bill Walton moment, Corey.
Absolutely.
Celebrating his 81st birthday today.
Wow.
It's Bill Russell. Statue out front of War Memorial Gym celebrating the great career of Bill Russell. A great tradition here at the University of San Francisco.
20 points, 20 rebounds in a career. That is insane. That will never be touched.
It's also Abraham Lincoln's birthday today also, just in the whole birthday thing.
Is that on your cup of coffee? Where'd you get that fun fact from? You know everything.
Oh, I could really spin a lot of yarn right now if you wanted me to. 3-point game. Santa Clara with the lead here in San Francisco as Matt Glover attacks. Good ball movement. Tim Dirksen off on a 3 and the rebound. Nice hustle from Jarvis Pugh.
Broncos stay in that pesky zone, and why not? They're 0 for 5 from downtown.
Emmanuel Endomaya. Shot clock at 10 for Brandon Clark. Finds Endomaya underneath, and a pretty feed from Brandon Clark.
Boy, you talk about solid fundamentals. That was a wall of a screen and a beautiful roll by Endomaya. Textbook fundamentals.
And he missed 9 games with a foot injury this year, and it took him a while to get back into the flow. And talking to Kerry Keating about Emmanuel Endomaya, who finished this play, but
look at this screen. He crashes and then rolls. Beautiful bounce pass. That's just straight textbook basketball. Coaches love when their bigs come out and play like that.
Endomaya now is about where he should be early in the conference play. And still, his conditioning is probably not where they would like it, so he can't go for extended minutes. But he's a key piece that Kerry Keating has, a young nucleus that he really likes. When you look at Brownridge, a sophomore, Endomaya, Jarvis Pugh, Kai Healy. There's some good young talent on the Santa Clara team.
Yeah, and there's no substitute for game experience. When a guy gets a late start, you can be in practice shape, but game shape is a whole nother level.
And Nate Kratch is just a sophomore. Matt Hubbard. Jalen Richard. There's a good young nucleus for Kerry Keating to build it back up around.
Absolutely, we talk about this all the time.
Chris Pinkins wave it off and a charge. Offensive foul on Pinkins is first.
Boy, you always hold your breath when the big fellas start showing you their floor game. Here's a penetration. Just pull up and shoot the floater. But once again, freight train out of control. Brownridge sacrifices his body for the ball. Not a lot of kids doing that nowadays in college basketball, making the tough play.
The other side for USF dealing with a couple of injuries right now to their rotation. As a foul on top is called on Devin Watson. His second. That's now 6 against USF. But Montre Clemens is out with a foot injury right now. Uche Ofebu is out. As you look at those two at the end of the bench there, Ofebu is out with a knee injury. He just seemed to tweak here yesterday. Those are 2 players for Rex Walters, including Ofebu, who's taken over as a role as a defensive stopper coming off the bench recently. Brownridge from the corner. And the rebound, Mark Tollefson for USF. Dons down 5, and an illegal screen is called. Offensive foul. And it's on Corey Hilliard, the senior of the Dons, his first.
Great call by the official. The Dons player creates the contact, but
he was pushed in the back by Brandon Clark.
He felt like Clark pushed him, and actually he did.
But yet the offensive foul goes on Hilliard.
You can't be letting Clark push you around. He's the point guard, for goodness sake. He's the smallest guy out there.
I mean, nobody at 6 foot 170 was throwing you around?
Not at all. Not at all.
Shot clock at 10. Here's Brownridge. Works his way off the screen. Deflected underneath, out of bounds. 4 on the shot clock for Santa Clara.
These are situations that coaches definitely want to have good communication. You only got to play defense for 4 seconds. Don't give up a wide open look, and don't make a silly foul.
Deflected out by Tollefson. And now 3 on the timer for the Broncos. Brandon Clark will play it in. Gets it underneath to Jarvis Pugh. Missed a layup, then gets his own miss and puts it in.
If you could see the look on Rex Walters' face right now, we were here at shoot around. They went over that. To give up the bucket like that with 3 seconds on the clock, those hurt.
Second foul on Jarvis Pugh of Santa Clara. 6 now against the Broncos. With 3 on the shot clock to get a look point blank range like that. You know why Rex Walters is upset.
Yeah, it's just communication. In that situation, everything gets switched. You stay in front of your man. Nobody breaks free, but obviously a breakdown in the communication. The Broncos are doing a great job of controlling the tempo of this game. They go zone when they want. They go man-to-man when they want. They're getting loose balls. They're getting turnovers. It's not helping that the Dons are cold from outside as they miss yet another 3.
Matt Glover misses. Pugh another rebound.
This is a very impressive opening for the game here.
Jarvis Pugh missing the reverse, and it's cleared by Tim Dirksen. Here come the Dons. Inside 4 minutes left in the half. Underneath, Mark Tollefson misses, and the rebound, Endomaya for Santa Clara. USF just 30%, 6 of 20, and they're 0 of 7 from 3. Against a Santa Clara team that had really been struggling defensively.
Look at what Santa Clara's doing. Great discipline, taking their time, using all 35 seconds. Now they get into their set for the last 10 seconds.
They really make you work on the defensive end.
Yep.
Denzel Johnson has a shot blocked by Tollefson, and Tollefson controls it. Outstanding defense. Matt Glover to the basket. Tim Dirksen attacks, gets to the basket, missed the layup. But the rebound trickles out to Tollefson for USF.
There is an absolute lid on the basket right now for the Dons. They've had good looks. Credit the defense a little, but it's just been a cold shooting night for them so far.
And they shot it well in that loss against Gonzaga here Saturday night. They shot 50% from the field and 9 of 15 from 3 as Pinkins in and out on a 3.
You know, Pinkins can shoot that. That's not your best weapon. But right now, with everybody missing, why not?
Jared Brownridge misfires. Chris Adams the rebound. (20-13) Santa Clara. Good defense, is that what we're watching?
Good defense. What they're doing, they're going man to man when they miss a shot, but on a make, they're going back in that zone. That switching up has really disrupted the rhythm for the Dons. They can't get into anything set because they're facing a different defense almost every possession.
Foul against Santa Clara, and Matt Glover will go to the line for a 1-and-1. The Broncos on the road. About 45 minutes north their campus. They're up 7. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the all-new Chrysler 200, ready to take on the world. All right, Anish, a 7-point lead for Santa Clara. WCC action, Thursday night showcase from San Francisco, and the Broncos lead it by 7. Speaking of Gonzaga, Corey, here are Joe Lunardi's latest in his bracketology #1 seeds. He's got Mark Few's team as a 1 seed. What do you think? Are they a 1 in your eyes? Eye test.
I've been to the kennel.
Yes.
I've been baptized. They are legit. They are the best in the West. I'm sorry. They get it done. They're a team. Inside, outside, well-disciplined. They show up every night. They get everybody's best shot, no question about it.
Hey, we're in the Bay Area. MC Hammer would say, too legit to quit?
Absolutely. I like the Hammer reference. That's nice.
You like that? We're in the Bay Area. Got to pull it out. Matt Glover at the line of 1-and-1. Minute 59 left in the half. One more coming. Women's hoops, top-ranked South Carolina looks to rebound against Vanderbilt. And show why they're still contenders. Vanderbilt, #1, South Carolina, Sunday at noon on ESPNU. Tough loss for Don Staley on Monday, and South Carolina losing at UConn.
Well, they got it handed to them. They've got a little ways to go before they can go blow to blow with UConn.
And UConn's only loss was here in the Bay Area to Stanford at Maples Pavilion. And a foul will send Santa Clara to the line.
Yeah, it's going to be a great tournament for sure. Postseason women's college basketball is going to be outstanding.
Fouls on Mark Tollefson, his first. Team foul number 8 on USF, and Brandon Clark, an 85% foul shooter for a 1-and-1. 4th in the WCC in foul shooting. A senior from East Chicago, Indiana.
San Francisco substitution, number 32, Tim Dirksen returns, replacing Chris
One more for Clark. He has 6 to lead Santa Clara. Tollefson with 4 to lead USF. It's been a low-scoring first half. Neither team shooting the ball that well. Teams will be getting after it defensively here.
Well, MC Hammer's not the only thing broke in the Bay, as the Dons haven't been able to hit any threes in the first half.
8-point game. Largest lead for the Broncos. Matt Christensen inside.
It's a nice play. Penetrate, unselfish, get something going to the basket. You don't want to finish the half in the midst of a drought.
Well, there has been a drought here in Northern California.
A little bit.
And at times we've seen an offensive one tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, it's contagious either way. Guys get hot, guys catch on, guys are missing, and it's contagious. They just got to settle in and play good defense, try to get a turnover or a stop.
Endomaya cut off on the baseline. Still powers it up and in.
Got away with a little shuffle there. Crowd wanted to travel. Endomaya with 2 solid post moves for the Broncos.
Here's Tim Dirksen. Gets to the basket as bodies went barreling everywhere in the lane. And a foul against Santa Clara will put Dirksen at the line. As a physical drive by Dirksen, the junior from Tucson, Arizona.
Nice drive right here. Actually just kind of gathers himself, doesn't take that extra step. Moving without the ball, the Broncos doing a great job of sharing the ball. They've got 6-7 assists so far in the first half, and that's the difference. Whereas the Dons have almost 7 turnovers.
1-and-1 for Dirksen. First foul on Evan Wardlow, a freshman from Lakeview Terrace, California. One more for Dirksen, a 62% foul shooter. There'll be a 6.5-second differential between the shot clock and the half clock for the Broncos here.
Roxy, a chance here to gain a little momentum. You will get the ball back. You get a stop, try to get a score heading into halftime.
6-point game. Denzel Johnson will bring it up for the Broncos. Seems like Corey Hilliard, #1 for USF, trying to deny Brandon Clark and not let him get a touch.
Full denial, because when the ball's in the hand of your point guard, he calls out the set. Everybody's comfortable. But if the point guard doesn't have the ball, then you have your two. And you see Jared Brownridge out here trying to go to work.
5 to shoot. Brownridge way out near midcourt. And a shot clock violation. Outstanding defense from USF.
The best possible outcome from the Dons right there. You see Rex Walters will take a timeout. He knows how important this 6 seconds are, trying to get a score and build some defensive momentum. But an absolute great stop, like you said, Roxy. They stayed at home. Nobody committed a foul. They created the turnover.
The Rex Walters trying to diagram one last sequence here with 5.7 left in the half to give San Francisco a bucket here to get that momentum going into the locker room. 6-point lead for Santa Clara as we check out some WCC scores, and the big win for Gonzaga over Loyola Marymount. They blitzed the Lions from the get-go, and BYU jumped on St. Mary's tonight. And in the second half, USD pulling away from Pacific, and Portland really playing well. Eric Rebenau's got his Pilots kicking it into gear here.
A lot of people ready to write Portland off, but they've played well the last 4 or 5 nights out.
That's a good Pepperdine team they beat around tonight. All right, here comes Matt Glover. One last chance before halftime. Glover to the basket. And that'll take us to halftime as that shot is missed. As USF below 30% shooting here in the first half. Outstanding defense from Santa Clara. That last sequence, 6-point game.
Dons keep mixing it up. Zone, man-to-man, throwing them off. I'm sorry, Santa Clara does. That's what's got them out of rhythm right now.
So at the half, it's Santa Clara 24, USF 18. Now let's go to Anish Shroff in the studio. The ESPNU halftime report.
All right, Broncos holding off the Dons by 6 after 20 minutes of play.
Look at the Bay Bridge here in San Francisco. That is the new Eastern span. 24-18. Santa Clara leads USF. Thursday night showcase. West Coast Conference basketball for you from War Memorial Gym in San Francisco, along with former Arizona standout Corey Williams, Roxy Bernstein with you now. May have been not have been the most aesthetically pleasing first half of play, but good defensive battle between Santa Clara and USF. We saw some really good plays on both sides.
Good execution in the half-court set. Both teams doing some things well. They need to continue doing stuff like this to put some points on the board. Now, this is just a great move, because what they do here is they're going to flash to the high post and basically empty the weak side of the court. Now, Tollefson's going to pretend he wants the three, but he really wants that lob. And once they empty the backside, the runway is clear, and that's about as easy a two as you're going to see. Great execution there by the Dons. Now, this is what Santa Clara does well. Freeze it right here. They've got all of their players out on the perimeter, which creates a 4-out, 1-in situation. So when the 5-man rolls, there's nobody home to help on this roll. Great execution by the guard. Holds it for a second, drops it right in there. Easy 2-point. Great execution for both teams.
First half numbers, USF just 28% shooting. They were 0 of 9 from 3. And Chris Pinkins, their leading scorer, with just 1 point, 0 of 6 from the field in the first half. While Santa Clara at 41% shooting, and the Broncos, who had been struggling defensively, put it on lockdown in the first half against USF.
They've played well defensively, mixing up the man-to-man, mixing up the zone. Brownridge hasn't really gotten started for them, which is something they've got in their back pocket.
Here is Denzel Johnson from the corner, and the rebound, Nate Cratch for Santa Clara. Johnson the pull-up, and the rebound, Matt Glover for San Francisco. Brandon Clark for Santa Clara leads all scorers with 7. Tim Dirksen, Matt Christensen, Mark Tollefson, 4 each to lead the Dons. Devin Watson drives. And the rebound, Matt Hubbard for Santa Clara. Second half just underway. Santa Clara led by as many as 8 in the first half. As Brandon Clark gets into the lane, swatted by Mark Tollefson. And a loose ball picked up by Matt Christensen, and USF comes away with it.
It's a great play right there by Tollefson, getting his hand on the ball.
Even with the size advantage, Corey, USF has had a tough time establishing the low block tonight.
It's all about rhythm, and right now, as you see the foul there.
Matt Christensen is fouled.
It's hard to get into a rhythm when one trip you're looking at man-to-man and you got to run a certain set of plays. The next trip you're looking at a 2-3 zone, so mentally you have to switch gears. All of that switching back and forth keeps guys from getting in rhythm, and that's a great coaching strategy by Coach Keating over there.
Second foul on Denzel Johnson. Matt Christensen, the junior from Oklahoma City, just a 58% foul shooter. One more coming is Jalen Richard comes in for the Broncos, replacing Denzel Johnson. So one more for the physical presence inside for the Dons and Christensen. Started now the last 3 games.
I really like his game. He does a lot of blue-collar things for the Dons. He's a physical player, set screens, rebounds, a lot of the dirty work, so guys like Tollefson can get alley-oop slams.
Richard kept that back pivot foot. They kick out. Matt Hubbard fires a 3. And the box out by Tim Dirksen for the Dons. Devin Watson for 3. And he's fouled in the corner by Brandon Clark. He'll shoot 3 free throws.
You see that all the time. Penetration, ball goes out to the shooter. If you're late, that's okay, but you can't commit the error of any kind of contact after the shot.
So 3 free throws for Devin Watson, the freshman. He started now the last 12 games after coming off the bench in 13 of the first 14. Averaging over 10 points a game in WCC play and just under 8 overall in the season. USF, they crept back within 2.
It's a good start to the second half. They weren't exactly lighting up the scoreboard, but they've gotten some stops. Hopefully knock down these 3 free throws, get back and play some D, tighten this game back up. And now it's a 1-point game.
Cruz Pinkins is in for the Dons. So USF has outscored Santa Clara 5-0 to start the second half. USF trailed by as many as 8 late in the first half. Second meeting between these two teams this year. Santa Clara won the first one 70-64 when they hit 10 threes of that game in Santa Clara.
It's a big possession here for the Broncos. They need a bucket.
And Brandon Clark gives it to him. Here's Devin Watson coming right back at the Broncos. Devin Watson, a quick dart to the basket. Pretty play by the freshman.
Oh, that's just straight playground right there. He hit him with the Allen Iverson crossover. Took it in traffic. Beautiful move.
1-point game again. And now the turnover. Matt Hubbard throws it away, and USF with a chance to take their first lead of the night.
You talk about sometimes guys being creative, making their own shot. That's just a big-time play, finishing in traffic, beating your man one-on-one. Team defense, you got to stay in front of your guy, but it's hard when they pull out a move like that.
USF, who's lost 5 straight coming in here tonight. Santa Clara's dropped 4 in a row. Matt Christensen, the kick to Chris Adams from the corner, and USF has their first lead.
They did that exact same thing early in the game, inside out. That's a nice play for them.
So the Dons with a 10-2 run to start the second half. And Brandon Clark draws the foul on Matt Glover, his second.
You knew the Dons were going to make a run in their own gym, but the ball goes inside. Christensen puts it on the deck, draws a crowd. The no look to the corner. That's a nice play.
The Dons have come out ready to go here in the second half. As Matt Hubbard fires off on a 3, and the rebound, Matt Glover inside, a foul over the back. It's on Nate Cratch of Santa Clara, his third.
And you know, we've seen Hubbard knock down these threes that he's taken. These are good shots. Pick and pop, knowing the attention that Jared Brownridge is going to get. It's not a bad option. Just got to make your shots.
So Cratch checks out. Jarvis Pugh had an active first half, is in. And that 3 that Adams hit, by the way, the first triple tonight for USF.
Couldn't have come at a better time to take the lead here early in the second half.
Devin Watts into the basket. Spins out. Matt Hubbard clears. Here come the Broncos. Jared Brownridge gets to the basket and finishes. An impressive move by Brownridge.
Well, he is so smooth. Obviously, he has the outside shot, but when he makes penetrations and can finish in the lane against the center, you know that kid's going to be something special.
Tied at 28. Bruce Pinkins, the pass underneath, then the power layup from Matt Christensen gives the Dons the lead again.
The Dons have figured out how to play out of the double team. They're doing a much better job.
Christensen leads San Francisco with 8. Broncos need to find an answer here.
Dons aggressive on D, contesting everything.
Brownridge tipped up by Pugh. Control, Corey Hilliard for the Dons. Nice crossover by Hilliard to the basket, off balance. Missed the runner, it's claimed by Richard, but dribbled the ball off a leg, and it's recovered by Brownridge for Santa Clara. Richard to the basket. Got it back, and it's clobbered. He'll go to the line. So Jalen Richards stays with it. Will earn 2 free throws for Santa Clara. 2-point lead for the Dons, and Rex Walters' team leading it on their home floor with a hot start to the second half. Coming up, we'll get Corey Williams' thoughts on Steve Nash, Bronco legend, dude, and one of Corey's seasons. Well, Steve Nash, certainly. When you think of Santa Clara basketball, you think of Steve Nash. There it is, Corey. Hide your eyes quick. 1993 upset of the number 2 seed Arizona Wildcats, the WCC Player of the Year, whose jersey hangs in the rafters at the Levy Center. And do I dare bring it up, Corey? Do you remember? What do you remember about that game in 1993?
I remember being a part of the Wildcats. I believe we were number 2 in the country at the time. I don't want to say we were overlooking Steve Nash and the Broncos, but at halftime we were all scratching our heads. Who is this long-haired surfer guy who's killing us right now? And we got bounced out of the first round of the tournament. It's one of the biggest losses in Wildcat history, but a tremendous player. Little did we know he was going to go on to superstardom in the NBA and MVP awards, and just an all-around great player, a Canadian as well.
Jalen Richards shooting 2 for Santa Clara. And we've talked so much about USF's great history and lineage with the national championships. There's a strong tradition at Santa Clara also, not just Nash, but Kurt Rambis. Even recently, Kevin Foster. Have been some outstanding players that have come through the Santa Clara program. Nick Tied at 30, inside 14 and a half to go. Santa Clara just 2 of 9 from the field here in the second half. Chris Adams from deep. Too strong. And the rebound, Emmanuel Endomaya for the Broncos. Kai Healy pushes. Brandon Clark the lob, 2. And the rebound, Matt Glover, another one for San Francisco. That's 8 rebounds for Glover. Corey Hilliard for 3. And Endomaya clears for the Broncos. And quickly back the other way as Healy went crashing into the stanchion underneath the basket.
You see the Broncos getting out and running when the opportunity presents itself. Healy does a great job, almost like a wide receiver in football, catching that, taking his time, getting his steps right, trying to get it up off the rim, but got tripped up. He'll shoot 2.
Well, Healy, whose grandfather, Don, played football at Maryland and in the NFL. Even though he's from Australia, he was born in Indianapolis. They moved to Australia before his 4th birthday. And Kai Healy, freshman for Kerry Keating at Santa Clara, and the Broncos have reclaimed the lead. And they wave off the shot. And it's a lane violation against number 4, Jarvis Pugh of Santa Clara.
Kerry Keating and Pugh arguing he was pushed into the lane early.
1-point lead for Santa Clara. Broncos led it by 6 at the half as Tim Dirksen inside. And the Dons seesaw in front.
Beautiful set play. Once again, they emptied the backside of the defense.
Jarvis Pugh off the feed from Brandon Clark. Both teams getting into a little bit of a flow offensively.
Guys penetrating, sharing the ball. Good ball movement there by the Dons.
Offensive rebound for Matt Glover. Here's Glover. Open for 3. Mark Tollefson in and out. Emmanuel Endomaya the rebound.
Boy, you get the feeling this place is going to come alive. The Dons can drop a couple of these jumpers.
33-32 Santa Clara. And both these teams desperately needing a win here tonight. Trying to get some momentum here, getting down the stretch toward the WCC tournament, as they really both want to stay out of the first night of conference tournament play.
Great play by Healy right there, keeping the ball alive.
Brandon Clark, the pull-up 3.
It's why you have to rebound. Healy keeps the ball alive, and the Broncos knock down a triple.
12 for Clark. Matt Christensen missing. Endomaya the rebound. Long pass ahead, and Jarvis Pugh finishes in transition for the Broncos, who are up 6.
Great discipline by the Broncos, picking and choosing when they want half court and when they want transition, as Pugh tries to get a steal right there.
Inside 12 minutes now. A little spurt by Santa Clara. Underneath, Matt Christensen finishes. Timeout, Rex Walters. 4-point game. Santa Clara getting their rhythm back offensively.
Santa Clara getting their rhythm back. Full court offense. Got to get back on D as the Broncos are off to the races.
Good one there in the Big Ten, and tight one here out west between these two Bay Area rivals.
You know, this game, sometimes it's a half-court game. Both teams trying to get some transition buckets where they can, but this was going to go down to the wire.
A little full court pressure from San Francisco. Evan Wardlow in the game. Brandon Clark getting a breather right now for the Broncos. He's had a terrific game so far for Kerry Keating. And a whistle away for the ball and a foul inside. And it's on Cruz Pinkins of the Dons, his second. 4th team foul against USF. Santa Clara leading it on the road. They're in San Francisco, leading the Dons by 4. Look at the Palace of Fine Arts here in San Francisco as the USF Dons hosting Santa Clara. 4-point lead for Santa Clara over USF. And of course, the college basketball world was rocked with the passing of another legend this week. Horace Dean Smith passed away over the weekend. And Tark the Shark, the great Jerry Tarkanian, who had so many great teams at UNLV winning a national championship, passed away a couple of days ago. And condolences to the Tarkanian family. But the 7th best winning percentage in the history of college basketball, the Naismith Hall of Famer, Jerry Tarkanian.
Really a distinguished coach. I wanted to play for him so bad coming out of high school. Was not recruited, but was a huge fan of what they did at UNLV in the early 90s.
Of course, also coached Fresno State was his last stop. Long Beach State as well. Underneath to Cruz Pinkins, and he misses again. Pinkins has had a rough night. He's 0 of 7 from the field. All the way to the basket. Jared Brownridge with the hoop.
And that's what they need for the Broncos. Some timely buckets here in the second half. They push this lead out to 6, but it feels like more than that because of the tempo of the game. Not a lot of points being scored.
Here's Pinkins. It's been defended well by Nate Cratch. And the foul called on Cratch, that's 4. And Pinkins will go to the line.
Personal foul, Santa Clara, number 43, Nate Cratch. That's his 4th.
So with 10:28 to play, 4 fouls. Women's hoops, top-ranked South Carolina looks to rebound from their loss against UConn as they take on Vanderbilt and show why they're still title contenders. Vandy, #1, South Carolina. Sunday at noon on ESPNU. One more for Pinkins, who had 16 the last time they played Santa Clara, but just now 2 points tonight. So we should point out the college baseball season gets underway tomorrow. We bring it up because Santa Clara, they're going to be at Vanderbilt against the defending national champions tomorrow.
Way to start the season off.
Why not challenge yourself right out of the chute? 1 out of 2 for Pinkins. Again, the Dons really struggle at the line. 61% as a team, 345th out of 351 in college basketball in free throw percentage.
That's really unacceptable. They've got quality players that are capable of stepping up, making free throws.
And Matt Hubbard with the bucket. 7-point lead, Santa Clara's largest of the second half. They led by as many as 8 in the first half.
Santa Clara showing some character like they've done on many other occasions. They took the run from the Dons to start the second half, gone on a little run of their own.
Devin Watson to the basket. The floater. That one was way up there, Corey.
Oh, that's a tough basket. Watson knowing where he is on the court, knowing that he's a smaller guy, but great touch in the lane.
9 for the freshman Watson. Jared Brownridge, the deep 2. Jarvis Pugh, the offensive rebound. Pugh flips it up and in underneath. Career high 8 for Jarvis Pugh.
And they've been a big 8 for the player off the bench. Pugh getting some quality minutes, a couple of transition buckets. There he gets a putback. These are the kind of buckets that keep you with breathing room when you're on the road.
And a foul off the ball. And it's on Santa Clara. And it's on Jarvis Pugh, his 3rd. 9:06 to play. 15th foul in the Broncos. They lead it by 7.
You know, Rox, my first few years at Arizona, I was a bench guy. I love bench guys. They come in, they're not really thought about much on the scouting report. You just try to contribute to your team. Guys like Pugh coming in, playing big minutes, making big plays, bringing that extra energy to the team.
Tim Dirksen tries to wedge his way to the basket. Missed underneath, and Santa Clara clears it. Brownridge attacks. Jared Brownridge with an impressive finish.
During the last time out, Coach Kerry Keating was in his ear like a hearing aid, telling him to be more aggressive, and he's answered the bell.
And the largest lead of the night for Santa Clara. Mark Tollefson off with that jumper. It belongs to the Dons. And now Daryl Jelena will come over, consult with Scott Brown. They'll change the call. It belongs to USF.
You're just a sophomore, but you're our best player. You need to do things like this. Take the game into your own hands and create something. Jared Brownridge, superstar talent. And it's hard for me to say that because he went to my rival high school, Wabanzi, Aurora, Illinois.
And a foul push is called on Brownridge. His first. There's a look at Jared Brownridge, the sophomore. Last year was a WCC Newcomer of the Year. He started all 59 games of his Santa Clara career as Tim Dirksen off the inbound for the and one.
Another hometown guy, Tim Dirksen out of Tucson, Arizona. He's a tank. He's so solid, so strong. He's a guard, but he loves playing physical in the paint. There you see the muscle and the and
You're
one.
claiming a connection to everybody, aren't you?
You know, it's like Kevin Bacon. I know everybody.
6 degrees of Corey Williams.
There it is. Can I get a segment like Walton? I got to get a dog first. I got to go out and get a dog.
And it sleeps on a Bill Russell blanket.
That's interesting.
Dirksen now 3 of 3 at the line. Gets a three-point play to bring the Dons within 6.
Time for the Dons to start thinking about defense. You're only down 6. There's a lot of time, but you don't want to be trading baskets for the last 6-7 minutes of the game.
Well, Santa Clara, pretty good foul shooting team. Jared Brownridge from the corner. 12 now for Brownridge. And 9 here in the second half. Chris Adams from deep. Answers for the Dons.
Big time answer. The Dons needed that as Brownridge starts to take over the game. Adams, not so fast with the answer.
Here's Brandon Clark.
I like Clark because he penetrates to pass. He's a pass-first guard, but he also can shoot.
Inside 10 of the timer. Brownridge steps out. And Brownridge short on that 3. And Matt Christensen the rebound for the Dons.
So the Dons dodged a bullet right there. He's not going to miss too many of those. That was a great set play.
Matt Christensen working hard inside. Goes to work on Emmanuel Ndomaya, and a foul on Ndomaya, his first. That's the 7th of the Broncos. So Christensen going to the line, but Jared Brownridge starting to get into the act for the Broncos.
The sharp shooting sophomore taking it to the rack. Got the Broncos in control here with a few minutes to go.
Six-point lead for Santa Clara on the road at USF. As the Bay Bridge leading into San Francisco, where we're at tonight for Thursday Night Showcase and West Coast Conference play. If the WCC tournament were to start now, here's what it would look like. Both these teams will be playing on the first night as the top 6 in the WCC get buys into the quarterfinals. Be held at the Orleans in Las Vegas. But still a lot of time between now and WCC tournament. St. Mary's and BYU hooked up tonight. BYU took it to the Gales tonight.
And they put the hammer to them at home. That high-powered offense, shoot the ball so well. Tyler Hawes, one of the best players in the conference, one of the best players in the West Coast, period.
Matt Christensen a 1-and-1. USF down 6. Offensive rebound, Chris Pinkins off the miss. Tim Dirksen missing a 3. Pinkins underneath. Finally gets a bucket. He was 0 for 7 before that one. 4-point game. Brandon Clark put off there in a mismatch as Christensen guarding Clark. Brownridge, the floater in the lane, gets the roll.
He is on fire. Coach Kerry Keating, that's a luxury when you can get the ball to your best player, let him get a little ball screen, let him solve the pressure for you.
Here's Devin Watson. The kick to Dirksen. Dirksen is fouled. Second on Brown Ridge.
Good strong take there by Tim Dirksen. He never gets rattled, like you said earlier. Physical player, good shooter, good penetrator, can play in the post. The Dons need to knock down these free throws, and then they got to dig in on defense.
Dirksen 3 of 3 at the line tonight. Junior from Tucson. Gets the roll in the first one. And 10 now for Dirksen. Double figures in 5 of the last 7 games. Along with Christensen, they lead the Dons with 10 each. While Brown Ridge has 14 to lead all scorers for Santa Clara. So Brown Ridge getting a breather here. Kerry Keating getting him a rest before that final push.
For that final push, and right here is a crucial part of the game defensively for Santa Clara. If they can maintain a 4 or 5 point lead and let Brown Ridge rest, it gives them a better chance to close out.
Dons need to get a stop here. And a foul called on Matt Glover of San Francisco, his third. 5 on USF.
That's real ticky-tack right there. We're too late in the game to be calling those fouls. No harm done, 40 feet away from the rim. There's nothing really going on. Clark, solid ball handler. I don't see the foul.
Here's Brandon Clark on the drive to the basket. And Brandon Clark with a pretty play to get to the cup.
Clark, knowing that the officials are watching, takes advantage with a strong move to the cup.
Tim Dirksen spots up. 3. 14 for Dirksen, and he cuts the Broncos' lead in half.
We knew this one was going to go down to the wire. The Dons battling back. It's all about what they do on the defensive end now.
The kick to Brandon Clark, a deep 3. Got it! Timeout Santa Clara.
Clark delivering in a big way for the Broncos with their top scorer Brown Ridge on the bench. This is why you need that Batman-Robin duo with Brown Ridge out. Clark just takes over. Here's just a one-on-one blow-by for the finger roll in the lane, and then you get the inside-outside from Pugh, who gets a crowd around him. That's NBA range right there, Roxy. That's deep.
He was way beyond the arc. And Brandon Clark with 17, Jared Brown Ridge 14. And those are the two guys, Corey, for Kerry Keating that need to deliver offensively, and they have done that, especially here in the second half.
It's one thing to know that you're going to get the minutes, but it's another thing when you know you have the green light. There's no hesitation in your game. Other players may hesitate, but as you see, Jared Brown Ridge, he got a talking to at halftime, and boy, as he responded, moves to the basket, fadeaways, floaters. He's just been on a mission, and you need that offensive decisiveness from your best player. Other guys are going to get open. Other guys are going to score because your key guy decided to take over the game.
Clark and Brown Ridge have combined for 31 of Santa Clara's 56, and the rest of the team just 25. And they have gone 12 of 26 from the field, while the rest of the squad 10 of 21. And there's Jared Brown Ridge in the second half. Just 3 at halftime, but has gotten going here in the second half of the Broncos. And now San Francisco needs to come back with an answer.
They need a good offensive possession that ends in a good shot or possibly free throws.
Bruce Pinkins out of the double team. Devin Watson Can't get the roll. Tried to grab his own miss, out of bounds. Last touch by Watson. It's a Santa Clara ball.
That was a big-time play. Watson couldn't believe the ball fell right back to him. Just couldn't hold on to it.
Six-point game. Here's Brownridge, way out top. Denzel Johnson, short on a three. Mark Tollefson the rebound for USF. Watson is fouled and will go to the line. 3:43 remaining. Second foul on Brandon Clark.
Brandon Clark, the supporting role here for the Broncos in the second half, doing what needs to be done to keep the Broncos in front.
Santa Clara trying for a road win at USF. They lead it by 6, 3:43 to play. And in the second half here down the stretch, Brandon Clark has really come alive.
What a luxury for Coach Keating to have two players that can turn it on whenever they want. There's no play you call for this. This is just Brandon Clark doing his thing, deciding that he's going to make his impact felt in the game. And as a coach, you want your guys to pick and choose their moments. Brandon Clark picking his moment here in the second half to shine very brightly.
And Santa Clara has made 6 of their last 8 field goals, and Clark and Brownridge have been doing it for the Broncos, as USF will go to the line with Devin Watson. 3:43 to play. 10 team fouls now in Santa Clara, so the Dons with a double bonus the rest of the night. And Watson shooting 2, 3 of 3 at the line for the freshman from Oceanside.
Roxy, if the Dons are going to pull this out, it has to be on the defensive end. We talked about trading baskets. They've been doing that since about the 8-minute mark. They've got to lock down and defend these last 3.5 minutes.
4-point game. Santa Clara trying to snap their 4-game slide. The Dons have lost 5 straight coming in. And the trap, knocking the ball free, out of bounds, belongs to the Broncos, as Watson and Pinkin stepped up.
Great defense by the Dons right there, showing the respect to Brownridge, trapping him aggressively so that he has to give up the ball.
And a whistle. It's against Watson. His third. That's 6 now on the Dons, so the next one will put Santa Clara into the bonus for the rest of the night. Here's Brandon Clark. In addition, Clark with 7 assists tonight, giving actually 8 assists tonight, as Denzel Johnson in and out on a 3. Mark Tollefson tied up by Nate Cratch. Jump ball belongs to USF.
Big time play there by Cratch, sticking his hands in the cookie jar. Fortunately for the Dons, they've retained possession, but got to be a little bit more careful with the ball in crunch time.
And a timeout of 30 for Rex Walters in USF with 3:05 to play. So they have 2 timeouts left. Santa Clara has 3. Join the College Game Day crew on the road in Dallas. Kevin Ollie's UConn Huskies go up against Larry Brown's 25th ranked SMU Mustangs. If it happens in college basketball, it's on Game Day. Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPNU. So Game Day to Dallas. That's SMU basketball. It's kind of the place to be right now in Dallas. President George W. Bush has been there at Moody Coliseum. Troy Aikman, been there. Jerry Jones, Tony Romo.
Quite a VIP list of celebrities, and obviously playing for Larry Brown, him bringing his experience and his style of play, understanding the NBA game and a little bit of how that translates to college, that open court style. A lot of guys want to go play for him.
So 3:05 to play, in the Dons here on the home floor. Fear the stash. That's what the t-shirt says then. Do you fear it?
Not necessarily. I'm not a mustache guy, you know. But I understand their point.
We got the goatee going.
Exactly. It's a rivalry game. It's your home turf. You grow out a mustache on game day. Can be intimidating, I suppose.
Inside, Chris Pinkins off the feed. 2-point game.
Credit Coach Rex Walters with a beautiful draw up out of a timeout. Set play that gets him a definite 2 points.
Here's Brandon Clark. Here's Jared Brownridge going to work. And Brownridge nearly throws it away. 3 on the shot clock. Denzel Johnson lost it. And USF with a chance to tie or take the lead with a 3. Good defensive sequence from the Dons.
Good D, poor offense by the Broncos.
Cruz Pinkins tips it in.
Sometimes it's not how you play, but it's when you play. Cruz Pinkins playing big here.
And USF has responded. And they've tied the game with 1:57 to play.
Roxy, you and I both knew this one was going down to the wire. I talked with Coach Rex Walters. He felt like the Broncos kind of punked them in Santa Clara earlier this year, getting out to over 20-point lead. They felt like they had something to prove tonight, and they responded in a big fashion.
USF this year 0-5 in games decided by 5 points or less, while Santa Clara 3-1 in those close games.
Sometimes all you have to do is get the ball to the rim and good things happen. He penetrates, no one boxes out Cruz Pinkins, and he's able to get the easy putback as the Dons have life here. Now you're looking at the last 2 minutes of the game. It's Watson versus Clark in terms of point guards having the responsibility to execute and make sure their teams do what they need to do. And then secondly, you mentioned it before, Roxy, the Achilles heel of the Dons has been the free throw line.
Tie game, 1:57 to play here on the Hilltop. Brandon Clark inside to Jalen Richard. The kick, open 3. Jared Brownridge misses. And Cruz Pinkins the rebound.
They had everything they wanted. Richard had a layup. Brownridge had a wide open 3, and they come up with nothing. The Dons getting a stop on defense.
So a 30 for Rex Walters at 1:32 to play. The Dons have the ball in a tie game.
You're going to move that ball around, try to get it inside to Cruz Pinkins, maybe a one-on-one situation. Create a rotation. You've got to do something to gain an advantage. You can't just come out and play handball and pass it around the perimeter. Someone has to create a scoring situation.
56-56. 1:32 to play, the 216th meeting between these two teams. Long-standing rivalry here in Northern California. 2 of the charter schools of the West Coast Conference. You go back, along with St. Mary's and Pacific. By the way, I should mention, on a note with Jerry Tarkanian, there is a tie to the WCC. That back in 1975, UNLV was in this conference. It was known as the WCAC at the time. And Jerry Tarkanian was the coach of the year in 1975 at this conference. Rex Walters, the reigning WCC Coach of the Year, looking for a response from his team here. Mark Tollefson underneath. It's fouled to the rim.
Broncos gambling right there, trapping the ball and putting themselves in a rotation situation. I don't understand why they went to the trap, but
4 fouls in Pew, and the free throw numbers, USF's been very good at the line tonight. But on the season, it's been a struggle for San Francisco. Tollefson 63%. Gives USF the lead.
Big shot of the big time. Mark Tollefson, one of the more capable players, a leader offensively and defensively for this team.
USF now 12 of 14 from the line here in the second half. Tollefson gets both. Just 6 points tonight, but a 2-point lead for the Dons.
Richards at the point, Brandon Clark at the 2. Interesting to see this on offense.
Brownridge pressured by Matt Glover. Here's Clark. 1 minute to play. The pull-up from Brandon Clark. Gets the roll off the heel of the rim, and we're tied.
He's so tough. The senior with the big bucket. He's got a smile on his face right now. He's loving crunch time.
Last USF timeout is Brandon Clark. Wasn't necessarily the prettiest looking shot, but it went in. That's all that matters.
Like we said, this is not a play. This is just your senior deciding, you know what, Brownridge isn't open. Stop on a dime. Get a soft roll, good touch. You know, they always talk about shooter's roll. That's exactly what that is. He goes right to left. Nice move, good elevation, gets a clean look. I mean, this is the time where the big players step up.
That ball deadened off the backboard and the heel of the rim, and it trickled in.
Hey, sometimes I'd rather be lucky than good.
That's true. USF out of timeouts. Possession arrow points towards Santa Clara. The Broncos committed 10 team fouls. USF 6 personal foul problems. Jarvis Pugh and Nate Cratch 4 each for Santa Clara. While for USF, nobody has more than 3. 48.3, tied at 58. Rex Walters, where do you think they're going to go here?
I would probably think they've got to go in a ball screen situation for Watson. He's your point guard. He's got to have the ball in his hand. He's a capable free throw shooter. What you don't want is one of your forward shooters ending up having to force something. But either way, you've got to get a good look. Now, if you're Santa Clara, you are going to get the ball back no matter what. So defend without fouling, and that puts you in a great situation. But if I'm the Dons right now, I'm looking at maybe a 2-man game between Watson and Tollefson, both capable players. Put Dirksen in the corner to knock down the 3 if it comes up.
30 seconds on the shot clock, 48.3 left in the game clock. The ball comes into Matt Glover. Now Watson comes to get it. Here's Watson on the drive. The kick, Matt Glover open for 3. Off the mark. Watson runs it down. The Dons can play for the final shot.
Huge offensive rebound. Watson almost picked up the charge. The Dons can close it out.
And no timeouts for San Francisco. Ten seconds. Devin Watson. Mark Tollefson, step away shot, and we're going to overtime. One last possession, the Dons could not cash in, and 5 more minutes in San Francisco.
That was not the best look for the Dons. I felt like Watson could have created off his dribble. Right here, he picks up his dribble. He's got to keep his dribble and create. Tollefson with a desperation fadeaway. Not the best option. Get something to the basket, put the officials in a situation where they may whistle a foul and you end up with some free throws. But a fadeaway from 20 feet when you had a chance to do something a little more aggressive.
So this game tied at 58 going overtime. USF 0-1 in overtimes this year. This is the first overtime game for Santa Clara. As we look at the other scores from around the West Coast Conference tonight, BYU a convincing win in Provo versus St. Mary's. Gonzaga clobbers LMU up at the Kennel. San Diego a nice win down at the Jenny Craig Pavilion over Pacific. And how about Portland? The Pilots playing good ball right now. They swept the Bay Area last weekend. And then knocking off Marty Wilson's Pepperdine team. And Portland climbing back toward 500 in league play, 15-10 overall. And keep in mind the top 6 in the West Coast Conference get a bye into the quarterfinals. 7, 8, 9, 10 will have to play in the first night in Las Vegas. USF trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. Santa Clara has lost 4 straight coming in. And we're going to need 5 more minutes to decide this one here on the Hilltop tonight. 19 for Brandon Clark to lead all scorers for Santa Clara. Jared Brownridge with 14, while 14 from Tim Dirksen to lead USF. For the overtime, Rex Walters will start. Devin Watson, Matt Glover, Tim Dirksen, Jared Brownridge, Cruz Pinkins. For Santa Clara, Brandon Clark, Jalen Richard, Jared Brownridge, Jarvis Pugh, and Nate Cratch. In the jump ball of overtime won by the Dons.
Played in a lot of overtimes, Roxy. It's all about momentum. The team that grabs the momentum first has a huge advantage.
Cruz Pinkins came up with some big plays down the stretch. He attacks Cratch, who's got 4 fouls. And if that's on Cratch, he is done for the night. And he is.
Nice aggressive move by Pinkins right there. That's the kind of play they should have ended regulation with. Force the issue, be aggressive, get to the line for the win.
Cratch fouls out just 23 seconds into the extra session. And Cruz Pinkins will shoot 2 here for the Dons. Try to give them the initial lead of overtime.
You know, we always talk about KYP, know your personnel. Hubbard checks into the game. He's a pick and pop 5 who can shoot the 3. Now, he's missed a couple of tonight, but Pinkins has to recognize that there's a different type of inside player on the floor right now for the Broncos who can stretch the defense.
Pinkins gives USF the lead. One more for Cruz Pinkins. Now it's 9. Cruz Pinkins, 8 of those coming since halftime. And he hits both. And USF shooting the ball well from the line tonight.
It usually works the other way, Roxy. You praise them and they miss. But tonight, the Dons have broken your curse, shooting well from the stripe.
18 of 22, 82% from the line. And again, a team that's just 61% for the season from the stripe. Jalen Richard to the basket. And Jalen Richard, with his first field goal of the game, ties it up at 60.
That's a big-time play from a bench player in overtime.
For Kerry Keating, he has 2 sophomores and 2 freshmen on the floor here in overtime. Devin Watson, nifty ball handle to the basket. He broke it down.
You have got to be kidding me. Watson with the playground breakdown. Big time.
$13 now for Watson. Jarvis Pugh attacks. Shovels it for Matt Hubbard, who can't handle the pass.
Beautiful opportunity, but here it's Watson. Watch the behind the back. Just freaks the double team, and then it all opens up. Richard with the Ole Matador defense as Watson just takes it right to the rack. You got to stop the ball in overtime.
Freaks the double team.
He freaked them. They had no idea where the ball was. And you run a lot of, that's a big gamble, because if you lose that going behind the back in overtime, you might get your scholarship pulled tomorrow in practice.
The lob for Pinkins, broken up by Matt Hubbard. Here comes Jared Brownridge. Jalen Richard for the lead. Way off. And Mark Tollefson the rebound for the Dons. Inside 3 minutes to go in the extra session.
Richard, got to know your role. You made a nice move to the rim. Leave the threes to Clark and Brownridge.
Devin Watson. Matt Glover for three. Short. Matt Hubbard the rebound. Here's Brandon Clark out top. Matched up with a freshman Watson. Shot clock at 10. Brandon Clark stumbles. Here come the Dons. Ahead to Tim Dirksen. And he's fouled. Will go to the line.
A lot of contact on Clark's drive. No call, but the Broncos got to get back in transition. Dirksen outruns the pack, and he's a solid guy. He's going to take that contact, get to the free throw line. One of the better free throw shooters for the Dons. Two big sequences for USF.
And Jarvis Pugh is fouled out. And the redshirt freshman from Murphy, Texas, departs with 8 points. So the second Santa Clara player to foul out is Nate Cratch, fouled out immediately as we started overtime. And a 2-point lead for USF and a couple of free throws coming up for Tim Dirksen. And Rex Walters trying to sell that should have been a flagrant one. But the officials, Klaus Andriessen, Daryl Jelena, and Scott Brown not buying.
No, you're not going to get a flagrant one. It's crunch time. It's no layup rule is in effect. They did a good job of making a good basketball play now, but that's his job as a coach. You want to lobby for every possible call you can get.
Dirksen 5 of 5 at the line tonight, 14 points to lead the Dons. And USF continues to knock him down from the line. And a timeout taken by the Broncos. San Francisco up by 3. And the Dons responding here in overtime, and the freshman coming through.
Nobody's been bigger than the point guard down the stretch. Watson pulling moves out of the hat as the Dons have a 3-point lead.
In San Francisco, Thursday night showcase and a 3-point lead for the USF Dons over Santa Clara in overtime. You driven across that, the new part of the Bay Bridge?
Yeah, once.
Just once?
They had a toll.
Yes,
no one told me.
If you're coming into San Francisco, Corey, there's the toll. But if you leave, they don't charge you.
Well, that's because they took all your money on the way out. I mean, everything's so expensive here.
And then when you come back, they get you again.
Exactly. They get you both ways.
One more shot for Tim Dirksen. And he can't get the bounce. And Emmanuel Endomaya the rebound. Still a one-possession game. Two Broncos have fouled out now. Brandon Clark in and out on the three. And Bruce Pinkins the rebound. That was all the way down, Corey, and then it popped out.
They needed that. Psychologically, they needed that. And on the scoreboard, they needed that to drop.
And a foul out top. It's on Emmanuel Endomaya, his second.
And this really isn't the worst thing in the world for the Broncos right now. Sending Pinkins to the line early without any time burning off the clock. See how he does at the free throw line.
Bruce Pinkins at the line, shooting 2 as the Dons in the double bonus. Pinkins tonight from the stripe, 4 of 6. And he gets the roll. It's a 2-possession game. One more for Pinkins, who had 1 point at halftime. And hits both. He now has 12, and the USF lead is at 5. Largest lead of the night as Santa Clara has led for the majority of this game.
They have to get a bucket here, and it has been a long time since we've heard from Jared Brownridge.
Brandon Clark the pull-up, and a much-needed bucket for the Broncos. 21 now for Clark, his 10th 20-point game of the season.
That was a real tough move in traffic, stopping on a dime with the floater. Now it's all about defense. Can the Broncos get a stop?
Evan Watson out top. Attacks Clark. The find to Tim Dirksen. And Devin Watson, another big play for the freshman.
Quality play by the point guard.
Brandon Clark missing inside. Mark Tollefson clears. And a foul committed with 26.7 to play, and Matt Glover will go to the line. First on Jalen Richard.
You want to talk about performing on the big stage. Watson one-on-one, draws a crowd. Just the quintessential point guard, gives it up at the right time for Dirksen, who moves without the ball. He doesn't just stand around and watch his point guard go to work. That's a back cut. That's old school. That's crunch time play by the Dons.
Matt Glover now 1 of 3 at the line tonight, just a 47% foul shooter. 26.7 remaining. One out of 2 for Glover. Glover 4 points tonight and 10 rebounds.
Whatever happens for the Broncos has to happen quick. The score or the foul, you've got to get some points up in a hurry and get back on defense.
Here comes Brandon Clark. Clark drives. Can't get a look. Jared Brownridge fires. Off on a 3. Jalen Richard, the kick out, but a walk is called. And Santa Clara turns it over, 9 seconds remaining.
Credit the Dons with holding their ground defensively. They've shut Brownridge down in the most crucial part of the game. Some heroics by Clark, but great defense and free throw shooting down the stretch by the Dons.
And Dirksen is fouled by Jalen Richard. 8.5 seconds. Dirksen, 6 of 7 at the line, will shoot 2. And a 6-point lead in San Francisco, on the verge of snapping their 5-game losing streak. Well, Santa Clara appears headed for their 5th in a row, and they'll have a week to think about it. Up next for both these schools, the Southern California swing to Pepperdine and LMU.
You see the importance of quality point guards. Every coach in the country would tell you, rather than a big man, you start with your point guard. The way Devin Watson's played down the stretch for the Dons has been absolutely magnificent. Brandon Clark playing great lights-out basketball. It's a block there to seal it.
And Matt Glover came lunging at Brandon Clark. And they may put a little more time back on the clock here after the block shot, and the ball going out of bounds. And the officials will check the monitor, the hustle there from Matt Glover. So the officials put 2.5 seconds on the clock. And Evan Wardlow comes in now for the Broncos, and Santa Clara led for the majority of this game, but USF came back. And now the USF Dons are going to escape on their home floor with a win in overtime. 69-62, they knock off Santa Clara.
The Dons break the curse at the free throw line. They play good closeout basketball, lots of good fundamental plays down the stretch. Defensively, they locked up key players for the Broncos.
Final score again, USF 69, Santa Clara 62 for Corey Williams and our great ESPN crew. Roxy Bernstein saying goodnight from San Francisco. Coming up next, more men's basketball, Ole Miss, Florida on ESPNU.